Security leadership runs on trust. Without it, technical teams avoid security. Executives question the program. Business units delay engagement. Auditors get incomplete evidence, and the board receives filtered, confusing updates. With it, security gets earlier involvement, better cooperation, faster decisions, and more honest conversations about risk. Same program, same people, completely different results. And here's the hard part. You need cooperation from teams you do not control. Trust is the only currency that buys it. Welcome to episode 3 of Boardroom Ready, chapter 3 of the book, and the last lesson in part 1. The mission gave you direction. Business framing gave you relevance. Trust is what makes any of it work. In this episode, the trust problem every security team inherits. The 7 behaviors that actually build trust. The 3 arenas where you earn it and how they differ, plus a real launch decision done right, and 2 tools, the organizational trust map and a 6-step pattern for your hardest conversations. Let's get started. Let's name the problem honestly. Many organizations have a complicated relationship with security. Some teams see you as the department of no. Others see an audit function that shows up after decisions are made. Executives may see security as necessary but expensive. Technical teams may feel security leaders don't understand operational reality, and your own team may feel the business only cares after something goes wrong. The CISO has to change that pattern, and you don't change it with slogans. You change it with behavior, repeated until people believe it. So what does that behavior look like? 7 things. Tell the truth without creating drama. Understand technical and operational reality before making demands. Follow through on commitments. Give teams clear expectations and decision paths. Escalate risk responsibly, without surprises when you can avoid them. Share credit with the teams doing the work. And own security outcomes without pretending security owns every business decision. None of those are complicated. All of them are hard under pressure. That's exactly why they build trust, because anyone can do them once, and almost nobody does them consistently. Now, trust isn't earned in one place. There are 3 arenas, and each one pays in a different currency. First, technical teams. Analysts, engineers, architects, and managers need to know you understand the work well enough to represent it fairly. They don't need you to do every job. They need you to ask good questions, remove blockers, protect them from chaos, and explain priorities clearly. You damage this trust by overpromising to executives, underestimating implementation complexity, ignoring staffing limits, or using the team as a scapegoat. And here's the pro tip from the chapter. Never let your first deep conversation with the technical team happen during a crisis. Build operational trust before the pressure hits. Second, business leaders. They need security to be practical, which does not mean permissive. When security only says no, the business works around it. When security only says yes, risk quietly accumulates. The job is to create space for informed decisions. Understand the objective, identify the risk, define options, recommend a path, document the decision. Third, executives and the board. They trust security leaders who are clear, prepared, calm, and consistent. They don't need every technical detail. They need confidence that you understand the details, that you won't hide material risk, won't exaggerate to get funding, and won't surprise them unnecessarily. Boardroom trust is built over time. Repeatable reporting, honest limitations, visible progress, practical recommendations. And write this warning down because it's one of the sharpest lines in the book. Do not mistake executive confidence for executive trust. Confidence can be performed in a meeting. Trust is built when your facts, your judgment, and your follow-through stay reliable over time. Here's the real-world test. A product team plans to launch a customer-facing feature. Security identifies gaps in authentication logging, data access controls, and vendor review. Now, the 3 possible responses. The weak security approach. This cannot launch. The weak business approach. We accept the risk without understanding it. Both fail, just in different directions. One buries the launch, the other buries the exposure. The boardroom ready response creates a decision path. The launch can proceed if we complete 3 specific controls before go live, accept 1 documented residual risk for 60 days, and provide weekly status until remediation is complete. And if the business wants to launch without those controls, that decision gets made by the accountable executive, with legal and security aware of the exposure. That approach doesn't remove tension, but it creates clarity. The business gets options instead of a veto. The security team's credibility stays intact, and accountability lands exactly where it belongs, with the leader who owns the business outcome. That's trust building in real time. Two tools this episode. The first is the organizational trust map. Down one side, your stakeholders, SOC, engineering, architecture, IT operations, product, legal, finance, HR, executives, the board. Across the top, is trust strong, weak, or untested? What's the evidence, and what's the next move to strengthen it? Most leaders have never actually mapped this, and the gaps that show up will surprise you. It's a tab in the Stakeholder and Trust Toolkit spreadsheet in the community. The second tool is the 6-step communication pattern for difficult security conversations. Objective: what is the business trying to accomplish? Risk: what could go wrong and why does it matter? Options: what choices exist with timelines and trade-offs? Recommendation: what does security recommend? Decision: who needs to decide and what gets documented? And follow-through: what will security do next and when is the next update? 6 steps. Print the card, keep it in front of you, and hard conversations stop being improvisation. Your action steps this week. Complete the trust map for your environment. Pick the one stakeholder group where trust needs the most repair. Schedule one conversation with them focused on their goals and friction points, not your controls. And run your next difficult risk discussion through the 6-step pattern. Here's the bottom line. Trust does not mean everyone likes every security decision. Some of the most trusted leaders make the hardest calls. The difference is that people understand their reasoning, believe their motives, and know they'll be consistent. And trust requires humility, being willing to say, I need to validate that with the team, or we know part of the answer, but not enough to make that claim yet. That honesty strengthens credibility. It never weakens it. So run the checkpoint. Think of the people most critical to your success. Would they describe you as clear, fair, prepared, calm, and reliable? If not, your next leadership priority may not be a new strategy. It may be rebuilding trust. Commander's intent. Build the trust required to lead security across technical teams, business functions, executives, and the board without becoming either a blocker or a pushover. That closes part 1. You have the mission, the business frame, and the trust foundation. Now we put them to work. The Stakeholder and Trust Toolkit and the 6-step pattern card are free in Cyber Warriors HQ on School. The free tier gets you everything. The book, Cyber Warriors Boardroom Ready, has the full chapter. And subscribe because next episode we start turning all of this into money, metrics, and decisions. Links in the description. Next episode, part 2 begins. Risk, revenue, and resilience. The translation model that turns a threat into a decision, what executives actually need from you, and the executive risk statement that changes the conversation. That's episode 4. See you there.